And actually, the story of Conan started in the 1930s by an American author called Robert E. Howard. And we've gone all the way back to his original work and taken that as an inspiration for our game.
Conan, as a hero himself, was extremely diverse in the experiences that he had. I mean, he was a pirate, he was a soldier, he was a thief, you know, he was a barbarian.
And Hyboria, the world of Conan, is pretty much our Earth, 10,000 BC. But it's mixed with all kinds of religions, cultures, myths, demons. I mean, it's just taken all the history of mankind and just, you know, put together in this huge boiling pot. And that's where you're put into this world and have to fend for yourself and carve your own destiny. In Age of Conan, you can choose to play 3 different cultures, which you find in Hyboria. You start your life in this world, and you get washed ashore on a beach after the boat you're on actually sinks. And from that moment on, you have to really start fighting and really start to surviving in this universe. What we try to do with Age of Conan is to go for a bit more realistic approach on the setting. Conan was also, you know, the original American kind of fantasy hero coming up in the 1930s, which meant that it didn't have the elves or the orcs or all the other elements that you see in so many MMO games today. So what we've gone for is something we call magical realism. There is magic in there. There are beasts and demons and gods and all this kind of, you know, fantastic things. But at the same time, it's human, it's gritty, it's, you know, brutal, it's down-to-earth kind of stuff, while mixing it with the fantastical. The Conan universe is really a brutal, you know, barbaric, bloody kind of universe, and we really tried to capture that essence in the game. So we've pretty much gone full on what you actually can do in this universe. All the combat moves you have in the game, you can chop off heads, you can crush skulls, you know, you can really make painful moves towards your enemy. You're going to have sexy, lush women and men in the game. You really set this tone is all around you. We know that most online gamers are mature gamers, so instead of sort of like dumbing it down to like a teen rating, we really wanted to say this is the Conan universe and we're doing it the proper way.
Well, we have a team actually now. We operate in strike teams that focus on certain areas of the game, and we actually have a blood and gore strike team. And some of the things that we have played with are like, we actually went and tuned our blood after our game director had gone and seen the movie 300, because we were like, oh dude, 300 blood, we want to try that, you know. And then it was like, I was having so much fun chainsawing people in Gears of War that I begged some coders to do some on-screen blood splatter, like sometimes when you chop heads off and whatnot.
With Age of Conan, we really tried to take the MMO genre forward. I mean, we've been doing MMOs for about 10 years now, and with this game we really wanted to innovate on a key element, which is the combat.
The key with real combat is that we basically have looked at and developed individual things the player can use that we view as tools, and we wanted there to be tactical and strategic elements, and we didn't necessarily feel that making real combat was necessarily making button mashing. It wasn't about increasing necessarily the pace of combat as much as it was the control the player has over his character. So what we've done is we've taken at the very base level, we have our directional combat system, where you can attack from one of 5 different directions, and then by chaining these different directions together, that's how you actually perform your special moves, instead of like just clicking a button in order to activate a special attack. Now the reason that these directions are then important is because NPCs will actively try to adapt to what you are doing as a player, and that's where the tactical element comes in. PvP has been something that's been extremely important to us when it comes to Age of Conan. Given the sort of brutality and just the amount of violence that comes from the Hyborian world, we felt that PvP was one of the things that was necessary to be good, to really truly bring forth the world itself. So what we have is we have 3 different basic types of PvP, which is we have drunken brawling, which is basically you get drunk in a bar, your level doesn't matter, you can't equip any weapons, and your stats in battle actually are dependent on what you have had to drink. And then we have what we call mini-game PvP, which is like WoW Battlegrounds. It's capture the flag, it's objective-based, you're put on a team, we track the stats, you know, and you have all that. And then we have the Border Kingdoms. And even on a normal server, like a normal PvE server, the Border Kingdoms is basically an open PvP area. and has multiple tiered objectives and is designed to basically be an area that is constantly in conflict.
So we really try to take the essence of this universe and make sure that when you're there, that you're really hands-on and that you feel that you are in Hyboria. On top of that, you have all the MMO stuff, the normal stuff like the crafting and the social opportunities, exploration of a big world. So you get a lot of stuff you know and love from other MMOs, while you'll see a lot of innovation and hands-on activity that you haven't seen in any online game so far.
For the seasoned gamer, Conan is really just offering something different as far as the experience. If you're kind of tired of doing the same thing when it comes to fighting stuff and that the gameplay is basically the same, but you still want to be a part of those online worlds, you still want to be a part of your guild, you still want the feeling of being part of the persistent world, then Conan is really going to open the door to you being able to enjoy another angle of it, a much more interactive and involved angle.